What's up, fam? Dr. O here. So I was at the store today minding my business, buying stuff for the fam, and I started getting messages from my brothers about Stephen A. Smith is dissing me and is going at me. I'm like, what are you talking about? Now my immediate assumption was, I was on the Monday night panel, as I am, on Roland Martin Unfiltered, where he was going at Stephen A. Smith for not knowing what he was talking about. He said Stephen A. Smith didn't know what the hell he was talking about because Stephen A. Smith put out his comments about the DOJ and FBI informants at the insurrection, at that rally, at that riot. And so, of course, since I was on the panel, I would assume I just got thrown into it. But no, actually, when I went back and listened to Stephen A. Smith's 20-minute rant, he was actually talking about me specifically. But he just didn't call me by name. I don't know if he got problems with my name, or maybe he got into that situation with the Nigerian basketball player Ike Nuamu, and he was like, "Oh, however the hell you pronounce his name." Doesn't seem to have a lot of respect for some of our names that are different. Maybe that was what it was. But here's the thing: so when you listen to Stephen A. Smith's segment, which I have down in the post down below in the comments, you can check it out in the description. He says that he's responding to Roland Martin specifically, not his panelists. Like anyone knows who the hell they are. I ain't talking about them. That's a waste of my time. And then spends about 20% of his 20-minute video talking specifically about things I said about him while I was on the panel. Now, to be clear about something, first of all, Roland only has experts on his show. He had lawyers, politicians, doctors, educators, so on and so forth. The other two panelists who were there that night that you didn't refer to, except for saying they were just laughing and chirping it up and parroting everything Roland Martin said, had Candace Kelly on there, an attorney and Emmy-nominated reporter and commentator, as well as Jade Mathis, another prominent attorney. So the fact of the matter is, there are always prominent people who Roland Martin has as his experts. We're not random people. What do you say? No one knows who the hell they are. People know us. You don't. Fine. That's all good. But to be clear, my name is Dr. Ome Kongo Debenga, author of the best-selling book Lies About Black People, MC, spoken word artist, professor at American University, co-owner of some hot yoga studios. You can come relieve some of the stress. It's all good. I do this work internationally and have probably been on television in more countries around the globe than you have. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get to what you were talking about. So one of the things you said was, and one of the panelists are talking about, I should just admit that I'm 100% MAGA. Look, what I said, Stephen A. Smith, to be clear, was that your words are dangerous. And if you're not going to actually apply the same journalistic principles that you use to your work in sports, if you're not going to apply it to politics, then you might as well come out as 100% MAGA, because you're using MAGA talking points and you're Tucker Carlson Lee saying, I'm just asking questions. Case in point, you refer to the insurrection as an insurrection with air quotes. That's a MAGA talking point. Do you believe the insurrection did not happen? Did you believe that it was a riot or a rally and just some people just got out of hand and that was what was going on? It was an insurrection. They disrupted the peaceful transfer of power. They did that. You can't just call that out journalistically. That's just a fact. And so, yeah, I called you out on that because to not speak that is to be dangerous. And then you said, and they got this guy on the panel talking about he voted for Trump. He voted for Trump. He didn't vote for Kamala. Actually, what I said, Stephen A. Smith, was that I question whether you actually voted for Vice President Harris. And like you said, you're an expert in your own opinion. I'm an expert in my own opinion. So I'm just speaking my mind because I don't see how you can go at the Democrats in the way that you do. I'm somebody who critiques Democrats all the time. Roland critiques Democrats all the time. But the way you go at them, like I said, you have a lot of MAGA talking points. And you say things like, what happened with the FBI folks at the rally is even more, or insurrection, is even more evidence about the process being rigged. How do FBI personnel being at an insurrection talk about an election being rigged? And what does that have to do with Biden winning the election? He won by 80-something million votes, and Trump had like 70-something million votes. Like 80 is bigger than 70. What does that have to do with that? And as Roland was saying rightfully in the segment, these are informants. You're not supposed to rat out informants. Why would you do that? That's a MAGA talking point. To say that, they're giving J.D. Vance evidence and so on. That's just not right. And then you're saying, well, from what this is going on in this delayed report, they seem right. Come on now. And then you said, oh, people say that the right has a, I don't call them the right because they're wrong, but you said the right has a monopoly on insidious evil tendencies. I call an insurrection evil. And yeah, we can have racist and ignorant people on all sides of the aisle. There's no doubt about that. There's no question about that. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes down to it, you're using language that's just not appropriate. Furthermore, you talk about Joe Biden and you talk about, oh, Joe Biden, he just lies and gets people upset. Why, and so if he's lying, then people are cool what Trump's doing. All of this whataboutism, Stephen A. Smith, is just not working. It's just not right. You knew Dr. Joe Madison better than I did, more than I did. And you're doing what he talked about. What did Dr. Madison talk about? He said that people have a tendency to maximize the minimum and minimize the maximum. You take the one thing or two things that Democrats may do on a particular issue, and then you blow it up against the hundreds or thousands of things that Republicans are doing on the other side and saying, see, that's why people are mad, so on and so forth. Journalistically, that doesn't make sense. Does Biden have the right to change his mind? Does he have the right to see what was in front of him, even though he said he wouldn't, pardon his son and then change his mind given the new facts that were ahead of him? Come on, man. And you keep putting out terms out there to say that basically whatever Trump and them do is justified because look at the Democrats. That's not journalistically accurate. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of these TV shows, they're very comfortable with you on their shows, whether it's Cuomo or Hannity. I don't know if you talk to Carlson or because they feel like you're going to parrot what they say, even if you do it in a different way. Look, I was on Hannity. I ain't been invited back. They ain't trying to see me. I haven't been invited back on Dr. Phil yet. So, I'm going there and speaking up for our community in a particular way that you're not doing. And I feel like some of these guys look at you as a yes man, and somebody's going to get up there and validate whatever it is that they say as their black friend. It's sort of like what Malcolm said. Whenever a black man says something that they don't like, the first thing they do is find another black person to speak against what the first black person said. And that's what some of your comments come off as, Mr. Stephen A. Smith. And that's part of the problem. Now, one of the things you also accuse, I believe Roland Martin's a registered independent. You can double check. But you said he's a Democrat and that you're an independent and that Roland Martin only cares about the left. Roland Martin spends lots of time speaking about problems within the Democratic Party. Actually, he spends more time talking about that on his show. But here's something that you said, which tells a lot about you. You said, whether it comes to, the left or the quote unquote right, you said, I don't give an ish about either. I just want to get as close to the truth that I can get. Then do your research. Doing your research will get you close to the truth. But you kind of sound like Bill Maher. Bill Maher is talking about he doesn't care who wins the election. That's basically how you're coming off right now. When we talk about January 6th isn't about these informants. It's not about the DOJ. It's not about Biden lying. It's about January. It's about Donald Trump, who called people down there to get out there and protest. He said, join us, it's going to be wild. And so really, when it comes down to it, you talk about Democrats being guilty of stuff. I'm kind of just looking at some of my notes here. At the end of the day, you're doing us a disservice. And when I say us, I'm not even talking about black people. I'm talking about people who are interested in truth. You got a major platform. And you're saying you're spreading misinformation as well as disinformation. And to be quite honest, Jemele Hill got fired for a lot less. Just keeping it real. So what are you really trying to get at here? And I remember when people were going at Shannon Sharpe for some of the things he does or does not do on his show. And one of the things Shannon Sharpe said was that he's not a journalist. You are. So you should know better and do better unless you got different intentions. So look, like I said, my name is Ome Kongo. And to call people out there who call us nobodies that nobody cares about, that you're not wasting your time on, but then spend a good amount of time talking about us on your panel and talking about me specifically. Look, I'm here for the conversation. My goal is all about trying to find common ground in uncommon times. So if you want to have this debate in some other type of format, your show, some other place, I'm here. I'm here to build. But I stand by everything that I said when I was on the panel. And I continue to have this conversation with people because you need to be more responsible with your political commentary. And if you're not going to do that, then don't do it at all. You got a right to speak your mind. You got your right to be outspoken. But you know what, bro? So do I. And so I'm going to continue to do that because this is what I do. And this is my area of expertise. So I'm here for the conversation. And all of the panelists will be here for the conversation as well. We deserve a little bit more respect than you gave us, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to keep speaking truth to power, even if it's speaking truth to you as well. Peace.